Hello and welcome to Stampscaping 101. This isn't really a Stampscapes related video, but you can kind of see where, I don't know, some of my drawing techniques and just general, I don't know, kind of visual aesthetics kind of come into play from my, I don't know, earlier kind of handmade cards. I was just up at my mom's place visiting for Thanksgiving, and she had all of these cards, all of these handmade cards that I used to send to her and my mom and my brother. And she said, hey, she's not doing anything with them. She's kind of getting in the stage of kind of clearing things out. She said she'd just take them. I was going to, I told her I'd photograph them or whatnot. She says, hey, just take them. So I did, and I thought I would do a little video on these, just showing you some of the things that I was kind of creating. I was going to photograph them, but they're really hard to because they have this plastic on them, and I can't really kind of fold them open. They're kind of these sequential pieces like this that I created, and it's all based around what can fit in an envelope. So you know what I mean? It's just not everything's not ideal for kind of a card format. But anyways, one of the things that I've talked about when making cards, sometimes when I do things on the front or back of a card, and if I was doing envelopes to it, show you how I would kind of link what's going on inside the, on the front of the, card, on the back of it, and on the interior. That's what I was doing kind of with these ones as much as I could back when. And okay, so this one right here was a Mother's Day card, and I guess I was doing some kind of, I don't know, just funky things with collage and whatnot. This one right here, I don't know what the date of all of these are from, but they're all around like 1990 or so, okay? And I was a student at that time. So we were doing things like, I don't know, just various types of paintings. I can't even tell you what media they all were, but I think it was things like pastels and watercolors. I was working with all kinds of different media. If you saw my video a couple videos ago, I used a little sticker that was a glow-in-the-dark sticker. And that's these types of stickers here that I used to really love. And I guess they used to be $1.50, but here's the glow-in-the-dark one right here. But here's a little earth one right here that I placed right up in this little corner here to kind of, probably to mimic these little air bubble types of things, but I don't know, just little color Xerox things of flowers right here, and I did this character here. I know that one was in alcohol inks back then. Alcohol inks and like Copic markers weren't around, but there was this company called Studio 2, so some of the real early incarnations of alcohol ink pens out there. Studio 2's out of business, but they were a really good company. And I don't know, some of this might have been Studio 2 out here, but I think it was dye-based inks or whatnot. And that little ant right there is a little rubber stamp from a company called Good Stamp Goods that I picked up at a convention. I used that ant stamp all the time back then on different pieces. And then I used to, I don't know, this is like a piece of Mylar, so I would try to make my cards look, I don't know, somewhat professional. Remember, I was a student and on a student budget, so I don't know, doing things like that, to make a little card and whatnot. But I guess that went like that right there. And I remember that was some handmade paper, and those are just some rub-ons. So I do these rub-on texts, and there it doesn't really match up with the rest of the piece, but that was what I had to work with. Okay, so moving on. This one right here, I was wondering, what the heck is that? And it was another Mother's Day, 1989 right here. And this one right here, I distinctly remember there was a three-panel sequential piece that we were doing for an illustration class, and one of them was like Beauty and the Beast. Now, this one wasn't one of the pieces from that I did, but this is a photograph of this building out in Death Valley, and here's another photograph in here. Then I just Xeroxed my hand, and here's this rose right here. So in Beauty and the Beast, his whole thing is about roses, so that was in there. So I don't know, I was doing some kind of incarnation of the three-panel sequential piece that I did in school at the time. Okay, so here's a happy birthday, Mom, and this is on some kind of silver print or something like that. I'm sure I ran out of the Y's, so I just did that long E type of thing and birthday, you know. You get these rub-on sheets and you tend to run out of certain letters back then. But this is, I don't know, some kind of silver print. But this area right here is all kind of scratched out with a scratched knife or something like that, and I just kind of, you know, cross-hatched that out of the background. So this is all silver underneath, but it has black ink over the top of it. It's kind of like scratchboard, but this one is silver. And the funny thing about this one is I just have no idea. I don't recall us using this in school. I mean, I got other things that I didn't get in school too to play around with and try, but I don't know. I find that kind of interesting. I don't know if they still sell it or whatnot, or what it would even be called. Um, I'm sure I didn't put the ink on myself, this black ink. It's just too smoothly applied, so I'm sure it was purchased that way, but kind of interesting. This one right here is a birthday card for my dad. My dad's hobby was fishing, so Dad, happy birthday and happy fishing. You know, I wish I've dated this one right here, but this is a sailfish, and this was like one of the types of lures that he used to use. I think what was it called, a scampi or something like that. But I must have had a letters set, my letters set airbrush type of thing. So you can hook up those Copic markers with that airbrush type of little fixture and use it with canned air or a compressor, and you can do that. Well, they used to do that with the letters set pens years ago. These ones are from, I got these in high school, like in the mid 80's, but these pens right here, the fine tip ones, not the wide tip ones, you would, you know, hook up that little contraption to it and it would shoot fine air onto it. So I think this actually still works here. Look at that. Unbelievable. This is from like 1983 or 84 or something like that. Yeah, when I was in high school, I could buy like, I don't know, I have like 4 or 5 of these pens. Because I couldn't afford it, but you know, I did buy certain colors and use it with that airbrush, and I'm almost sure that's what that is. So I used some Frisk and just frisked it off and did that. But anyways, a little sailfish right there. I'm sure it was from those early years because I couldn't buy like canned air after that, and we didn't really use like airbrushing in illustration classes or anything like that. So little birthday card right here. This one is alcohol inks right here too. I don't know. It's just some gorilla smoking a cigar, I guess. Oh, I did an album cover one time. Or no, it was a cigar box. That's what it was. That was one of our assignments in lettering and typography. So there, I did this gorilla, and I forgot what I called it, but there was some lettering up there. But this is probably from a mock-up comp, they call it, you know, a comprehensive kind of rough draft. So I just used it for a greeting card here, and this is one of my designs from a Stamp in the Hand, those grape leaves. It's this big, but, you know, I stamped it 3 times. One of the things about my grape leaves is, if you look real carefully, I put a little ant on the vine. So I used to hide things like that in my drawings where I could. But this one was, this was a Merry Christmas. This was my Christmas card. How Christmassy is that, right? I guess it has a little bit of red and green in it. Okay, these are some other types of things that I was doing at the time. This is pastel on, I guess it's black paper. I thought it was blue or something like that, but I just used some different chalks and whatnot. And if you can see that foiling on there, that was done in the 80's. You still see that type of thing where you can apply some kind of glue or whatever, and then you put your foil on there and peel it off, and it leaves that foil on there. But back then it was this guy that I think he largely catered to the calligraphy crowd, and it was called the Edwards Foil Graphics is what he called it. So I found it at his booth at this show for art supplies that was open to the retail public. It wasn't wholesale, but it was all retail, called the Tools at the Trade Show in Pasadena at the convention center there. And I love going to that and buying like different art supplies and seeing different tools that were available, you know, by different manufacturers. The manufacturers themselves I don't know, sometimes I guess they would be there, but it was mostly retailers selling it. But this is probably some glitter glue like that, and I just splatter painted some of this fluorescent blue paint on here. But these are hearts, of course. I'm guessing this was like a Valentine's Day card or something like that with hearts like that. So I don't know. It's just interesting to me seeing these different types of textures and whatnot because I haven't done that type of thing since probably back then. Christmas cards. I used to make handmade Christmas cards using pastels, and here you go with the Edwards foil graphics again, like that. See that? And here's this Christmas card, and I wasn't making 50 of these or anything like that, but I don't know. It got, something like this got to be a bit much, and then I put this, plastic, this mylar over the top of that. I think that took a lot of time to do too. So, and I just kind of taped it off because I don't know. I just, I didn't have any other way of kind of tacking it down. But I don't know. A little cherub right there. This one right here, I seem to recall doing, not a lot, but this is Happy Birthday to My Dad. I called it The Flight of the Manta, 1989. So I was a couple years from graduating from illustration, but I'm pretty sure this is gouache right here, so kind of a stylized kind of a I don't know, depiction of mantas, but see that kind of those describing kind of dry brush lines on there. Oh, and I'm guessing this was when we were learning about kind of dual light sources. When you see movies, a lot of times people are kind of illuminated with both cool and warm light, or blue and red, to make things look more dimensional. But this is when we were kind of playing around with, well, not playing around, but we were using gouache, and it looks like I frisked this off, and that's like a airbrushed pen color down there. I was looking to see if I still had that magenta color, but I don't. But Flight of the Mantas here, I don't know. Kind of funky. I remember doing this one. I was really happy with this one, I think. This is a birthday card from my brother. He was a surfer, and there's one of those globes right there. So it's one of the three that are missing from right here, right? I think that one of them was on one of those other pieces there, but with the rub-on text right here, the green room is what you call when you go into the a wave that's curling over. You go into the tube, they call it, but also is when it starts to go over you too. Sometimes, it looks like you're in a green, blue greenish closing out room like that. So that was kind of a nickname for being in the tube. So it's it's happy birthday, from Neptune and Kevin, So hopefully Neptune gives us some good waves, right? But this one's probably pastels and watercolor. It might be alcohol inks. I'm not really sure, but I did these ones. I believe it was on vellum, so I think this is vellum. It's cardstock right here, but I've mounted it a couple times and probably spray sealed it on something because I don't know, it has that kind of that separation that wouldn't happen if it was all the media was being absorbed into the surface of the piece. And I just did some little brush work. Or no, I don't know. That could be colored pencil too or something like that. So I don't know. A lot of multimedia. This is my halibut right here. Just a simple line drawing. Oh, there's the Edwards foil graphics. Look at that Edwards foil graphics right there. Like that. Kind of funky airbrush down here. A little pattern on here. And I don't know. My dad's big thing was going after halibut. He loved catching those. That was one of his dreams, was to get to Alaska because, there's gigantic halibut up there. So 1989, so I don't know. I guess I started going nuts with the handmade cards, but those are all foil on there. They're all kind of reflective. So I probably did some kind of splattering with glue or something like that down there. And then, just kind of press those foil things on there. Those are just little hand-done brush work with the foil on there. Oh, yeah, the foil graphics. I remember there was like a separate, like glue that he had, like a jar of it or something like that. I wonder if I still have some of that. Another one of the, I guess there's one, two, three, three cards right there, and here's three missing of Earths right there. But my fish here, I take it this is for, look at my little hand done little stars up there with the, still doing that stuff all these years later. But a couple different, three different fish here. Dad, happy birthday, 1990. It's always about the fish with him. Another Christmas card. This one's not the original here, but I would do these different um, paper engraving, they call it, types of pieces. I don't know what it's like, funky, like a little bird, or Santa Claus looks like a fish or something like that. I don't know. It's just probably playing around with form or something like that. You can see my little stars here. You can see, if you're familiar with some of my scenes, I do that little eight-pointed star a lot in my skies still. This one's just, scratched in here, but 1991, so... Oh, here's one of these little fish down here, too, from one of those little stickers. So, one of those little sticker things. I was saying that I got... Yeah, here it is. No, it's not. I don't know where it is. It's missing out of one of those pieces right here. Here's another fish right here. Happy Mother's Day. I just watercolored one of my drawings here of that sun. The sun is actually... Yeah, the original size is it's much bigger. But, I don't know. I just put that on there. And did the coloring of it, to kind of match this. Oh, I thought this fish kind of going this way and the sun looking that way. I don't know. Is it a Mother's Day theme thing? I don't know. I guess if it's coming from me, it was. Here's a collage piece right here. I don't know. Who knows what this was. But these are the types of things. I was studying things like Art Nouveau at the time. And so we have all these little splatters right here. This is probably earlier. Well, 1999. I called it the Eclectic Hand Mixed Media. July 1989 right here. Happy birthday, Mom. Was it her style? I don't know. I didn't care. But collage and whatnot, using some, I don't know, just some things I Xeroxed out in this kind of real super psychedelic thing. I remember buying these paints, though, at the art store and checking it out under a black light. But here's some of those foil graphics on this right here. These forms right here, if you're familiar with, I don't know, a lot of the Stampscapes imagery, this is the type of form that I utilized with my butterfly set. So I'm still doing things like these little embellishments on my butterfly symmetry sheet number 3 imagery. So I don't know. Okay, and this one right here, I had these stars and hearts that I came out with. This is 1990. It's from my mom. But glitter and everything on this one. But there was these stars and hearts, and we called them foil hearts and foil stars. They were just little kind of, I don't know what they call dingbats or something like that. Or I think that was, yeah, it was something like that. But someone could, stamp something out or write something, and you'd stamp these little dingbats on both sides, just little decorative elements. So I was doing that for a Stamp in the Hand company. I guess I did a couple really large ones here, with that kind of stylization. I learned that from these stylizations from this artist that I liked in comic books, and he was in charge of the Iron Man series. So, his suit of armor always had these kind of real cool decorative types of elements in it like that made it look like metal and chrome and, super reflective. And, I just did it here. Oh, here's a dingbat right here. So that's a little bit of the stamp. That's a stamped image of one of those like dingbats. So it's like a little foil thing with a drop shadow on it. So I don't know. Someone could put one of those things in there, and I don't know. Back then we were doing a lot of things for envelopes too. So you might do like a an envelope, and you stamp this like in all four corners of your envelope for this kind of dimensional decorative element. Okay, but anyways, those are some cards there. You know, this is now back in these days, I was working for a stamp in the hand company, okay? But I was designing stamps at the time, but I wasn't doing a lot of stamping because Stamp in the Hand had people to do the stamping and samples using the stamps. So I didn't really start stamping with even with my own designs until I did the Nature series. And then some people that were demonstrating thought, all right, you know, this whole kind of modular system of bringing all these different elements together, they don't know, you know, what I had in mind. So they just said, one time they just said, hey, Kevin, you sit down here and, you know, at the convention demonstrate it. And I was like, oh, well, I know how, you know, what went through my mind is like, you know, in theory, I know how they're supposed to work, but, you know, until you actually start stamping it, you know, you don't really know for sure. That's when I started stamping. So, but this is my, you know, these are card making that I used to do. You know, just for my own family and whatnot, and other extended relatives too, you know, for Christmas cards and whatnot. So early, I don't know, early incarnations of, I don't know, I guess what I'm doing now. I don't know, some of these look like, you know, they were more kind of in-depth and extensive pieces than what I do now. But, you know, back then I had all of my art supplies out, you know, and, you know, was doing all that type of stuff all the time, so these things probably came together fairly quickly. Okay, so anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. I, you know, enjoyed looking through these myself. I haven't looked at them real closely until now. Oh, okay, here. Remember how I was saying I kind of hid things in my designs? Let's see if I can get in there. I don't know if you can see that right there, but that is a musical note. I forget what you call it, treble clef. I don't know, you can help me out right there, but there's a musical note right there. So in different things like, I don't know, in my stamp designs for a Stamp in the Hand especially, there's tons of little hidden things. You know, that's not hidden, that says the Knock Special Lure, you know, for Nakagawa, but I don't know, yeah, little things like that, you know, were hidden all over the place. My initials are in a lot of designs and whatnot. Little drawings here and there. So I don't know, if I looked at these things close enough, I'd probably find some other things. But we're not going to do that now. We'll close. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.